Hi, here's a walkthrough of how to solve the sleep-in problem in Python on CodingBat. So if you haven't already, please pause the video right here to read the problem description and get a reasonable understanding of the test cases. Okay, I'll assume that you are familiar with the problem now. Let's get started. We know we're going to have to return a Boolean data type. So we're going to be always returning a true or a false as we do this. So let's just start by kind of walking through the logic of the problem here. If the parameter weekday is true, then it's a weekday. Parameter vacation is true, then we're on vacation. Okay, so we're good on that. We'll sleep in if it's not a weekday or we're on vacation. So let's just try that first bit here. So I'm going to try to code this part. We'll sleep in if it's not a weekday. So in Python, we can write if weekday equals false. That means if it's not a weekday, so that means we're expecting weekday to be false, representing not a weekday. So if it's not a weekday, I'll sleep in. Say return true, means sleep in. Let's run our code and see what we get. Good. So we have a couple green test cases over here. We can take a little bit of time to study why our red test cases are red, but for the most part, we can see why we haven't finished coding the problem. So another situation is if we're on vacation, then we can also return true. So I'm going to come back up here to my if statement here. Say it says or we're on vacation. So in this case, we can just translate that directly into an or in Python. Or so vacation, spell it correctly helps, equals, I'm going to introduce a common error here intentionally. So I'll just use one equal sign. If vacation is true, means we are on vacation, right? Then we'll return true, and I'll click run, and here's the result of my error message. Invalid syntax on line 2. So I'll come back to line 2 and sort of study my syntax issues, and that's where I should discover that I used 1 instead of 2 equal signs. So now I'll run it again. Good. So we were able to produce the expected output in more cases now, and the only one we got wrong is a none, where we produce no output. So that means that the logic we already have is solid, and we just need to account for some additional cases here. So it looks like we need to say, well, if it's not one of these things, then we need to return false to indicate that we are not able to sleep in. So in all other situations, we can return false. Notice here's where indenting matters. I need to outdent that code back to the same level as my if statement here. So the only thing that's inside the if statement is this return true. If I haven't already returned, so the way return works, by the way, is the code will just stop running at that point. So we'll return true and we stop running if we're inside this block. So if we didn't go inside this if block, then it will continue running after code will continue running after that, and we'll encounter another return. So in this case, we'll return false. Another way we could code this is a little more explicitly say else. So in all other situations, return false, and in this case now we'll need to indent that to say that the return false is part of the else block here. So let's code it like this because it's a little more explicit, and we'll say go. Nice. So we have all green test cases. And that's how you solve the sleep-in problem. That's one way to solve the sleep-in problem in Python on CodingBat.